There was a friendly but naive king who wed a very nasty queen. The king was loved, but
hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another
queen
episode of Men
was
Must Seek. It has been a
feared.
while since I've done one of these episodes, so I apologize. But just with health and work and everything that's been going on lately, for those who are keeping up with me here, but not on my main channel, I've had hypothermia recently, and I also stopped working at SeaWorld. As you can tell, my voice is coming and going, so I apologize for that. But I used to work at SeaWorld, and then I switched jobs actually and went and started working for Harley Davidson, and then I got an offer at Lego again to work there. So I'm back at Lego, which is awesome. And so it's been a busy few weeks. I've been trying to get stuff on my main channel, but I know sometimes I forget to keep up with Nemeseek here. So I wanted to make up for that today because I have a few hours before I have to go into work. And I thought, hey, there's been a lot of great set photos that have come out for the Resident Evil Reboot movie over the past couple weeks. We haven't got a lot of Resident Evil 8 news, but except for like a little clip here and there. And I'm just like, it's not worth making a video on those. We'll talk about that game when they show more stuff and do another trailer. But for this, I thought, let's check out the movie, kind of like we do with Venom Vlog. There's people out there that are, filming what the filmmakers are making, and it's pretty cool because they're filming a lot of exterior stuff right now with zombies and things like that. But I noticed it's a pretty small crew considering for like a movie set. I mean, the crew probably could be a bigger size. We can't see all of them in some of these photos, but there's not a ton of zombies, and I'm wondering if they're gonna digitally add zombies later, or if because this is the beginning of the outbreak, there's no reason to have a ton of zombies right now. So I don't know. We'll see how the final product comes out, obviously, but everyone is up filming the movie, and I can't remember where. I think we talked about it in a previous video. I forget where they're filming right now, but we're going to go through these photos that have been released through Biohazard Declassified on Twitter. So if you're not following them, I'm going to put a link to them down below. And then I think Rely on Horror has been covering this pretty well. As far as like updates and stuff, anytime these pictures come out, someone over at Rely on Horror is uploading them and giving a shout out to Biohazard Declassified. So that's how I know about Biohazard Declassified's Twitter account. So I'll put a link to both Rely on Horror down below and Biohazard Declassified down below. So check those guys out because they're working really hard and putting up a lot of cool stuff. One of the first things they showed was like a couple weeks ago. So a lot of this information is older. It's like 2-3 weeks old. So if you know about it, I'm sorry, I'm just getting to it, but I'll try to stay up to date the best I can. They showed like a video clip of an 18-wheeler going down the street. And I thought that was pretty cool because obviously the 18-wheeler is from Resident Evil 2. It's the big truck from the opening sequence of the video game, and it like is careening down the street. And I thought that was pretty cool that they're replicating that in this. And they're actually replicating it so well that the truck looks exactly like the truck from the video game. So here's a shot of the truck from the video game. And and here's a shot from the truck in real life. It's pretty cool. It's a green, front of the truck. It's got a gas tank on the back, just like especially the remake video game, but also I think the original video game. I don't know if it was the same color in the original, but at least in this one, it's pretty spot on to the Resident Evil 2 remake, which is pretty cool. And you'll see some of that more like when we talk about the RPD, which those set photos we'll do in another episode. And then there's also Arklay Mountain and Spencer Mansion photos that are out there, and we'll do that in a third episode. So we're going to go through these, in sections. So these are kind of more like Raccoon City in general photos that we're going to talk about today. So we got an 18-wheeler truck driving down the street out of control. That's pretty cool because that's from the video game, like I said. Then there's also been shots of Kendo's gun shop. And obviously Kendo's gun shop is a focal point in the Resident Evil 2 remake. It was certainly in the first video game where it was like part of a strip mall. It looks like they're doing that again here. It's like a little tiny Mon-Pa strip mall, and you have Kendo's gun shop. So it's not like the version from the remake where it's like its own building and everything like that. And behind it, it's like a shed where I think Kendo maybe is hiding out with his daughter, who is turning into a zombie in the video game.
Daddy.
He's here. Here. Okay. Those fucking things outside. Look what they did to us. You're a cop. You're supposed to know something. How did this happen? Huh? She was a sweet little angel.
Mommy.
I was sleeping, honey. Okay? And I'm gonna put you to bed too, okay? Emma. Just go. Just give us some privacy.
You know, it's one thing to keep the truth from me, but why him?
I thought that was, really well done in the remake. I actually like that scene a lot with him and his daughter, but because it adds a lot of humanity, I think, to the story and what's at stake, and people are actually losing loved ones and stuff. And I like that approach. I thought they did a really good job with the remake with Kendo, because he's not much of a character in the first game. If you play as Leon in the first game, he's just like, hey, what's up, buddy? How's it going? And then he gets killed. And then if you play as Claire, he's like, what's up, sweetheart? And he's like kind of flirty with her. Kendo is essential in the lore of Res Evil in a sense because he connects to the STARS members who are the the special forces team that Barry and Chris and Jill are part of in the video games. He helps customize some of their guns, some of the weapons that the police force uses and the STARS unit uses. So he's a cool character. So it's nice to see at least his shop represented. I don't know if we'll see him in the movie, but at least we got his shop in the movie, which is pretty cool. And then of course there's some billboards around that people are posting up. Evil Hazard BR at Evil Hazard BR. I'll put a link to them down below. You can see here they took a couple photos as well. One of them was a Raccoon City street sign that kind of tells you the city limits, and it has the umbrella logo next to Raccoon City. So that's pretty cool. That obviously they're going to slap umbrella logos everywhere. This movie seems like a loose translation of the first and second game, and they're going to combine them, as we talked about before. Like they're going to combine the stories. So it seems like they might start out in the city, and the zombie outbreak happens like Res Evil 2 style, but then they'll go into the Arklay Mountains and learn who's behind all this and learn that it's Umbrella. So I don't know. It seems like that could be the case, or it could be two different stories where it's like Chris and Jill and their team STARS are investigating the mansion, and the outbreak happens, or the outbreak has already happened, and then it carries into the city, and then Claire and Leon show up, and Leon's hoping to help the STARS or something. I don't know. There's a way to combine the stories. I hope it doesn't cram too much in, but I guess we'll see when the movie comes out. But so you saw a shot there of that, and also this shot here, which is really cool, where it's like a suburban neighborhood, and you see people walking around. I'm sure that they're gonna put a couple zombies there, but that could be on the outskirts of Raccoon City, near Arklay Mountains, where where that'll lead up to the mansion possibly. So obviously there's the city of Raccoon City, there's the suburbs, like any other city, there's suburbs, and then it goes into, and you see this big water tower thing in the back, which I'm like, oh, I wonder if they'll just claim that as an umbrella location. And then someone posted like parking signs, Raccoon City parking signs, and things like that. These photos from Monster Memory says, my sister works on Resident Evil, I'm so jelly. So these pictures, I don't know what they are of. So that's why I'm going to wait to see. That's why I'm not putting them in the mansion video or the RPD video, because we're going to do RPD set video coming up, and then a Spencer Mansion video coming up. I didn't know which location this was, so I'm just going to include it here. And what BSAA or BSA Arklay at Samurai Edge 85 on Twitter, what they discovered is that one of the logos on the wall looks like the Hear Me Roar logo from the House of Lannister coat of arms. So yeah, it could be just the location they're filming in and stuff like that. I haven't done too much research on where they're filming, and the little bit I did, I can't remember off the top of my head. So feel free to correct me in the comments of like where they're filming this and where these locations are. I'm just drawing a blank right now, and I'm so sorry. But we do have this set photo here that looks like it could be the RPD, but it also could definitely be the mansion. Like the mansion has these big glass windows. It has, you can look down the staircase here. They're looking over the edge. It's a square room underneath them. I mean, you could easily fake that for the entranceway the Spencer Mansion. So I don't know for sure, but shout out to BSAA Lay, and also to a Monster Memory at Mono Memory 85. I think it's funny that it's Mono Memory 85 and then Samurai Edge 85 commented to it. So yeah, a lot of people born in 1985, I guess, that love Resident Evil. So yeah, so then we have this shot here, which is just like this warehouse in the distance, and you kind of get the Arklay forest, I'm guessing what this is. So this looks really cool. It looks very ominous. It's foggy and stuff like that. So I think that looks cool. It's just natural. I don't think they added any fog or anything like that. This is just a shot of this place, and it already looks a little ominous. So that's great for the setting of a Resident Evil movie, obviously. Then we have here from Bloody Disgusting, who's also been covering some stuff. They posted these photos from Emmy's. So Biohazard Classified, again, linked to them. Emmy's is the diner that Claire went into in the original Resident Evil 2. Obviously, it's not in Resident Evil 2 Remake, as far as I know, unless it's in the background somewhere. But Emmy's Diner was a location in the second video game, in the original second video game, in the opening scene, the opening cutscene, where Claire goes in there, sees her first zombie, goes to the door busts open, Leon's there, he holds the gun up, says, "Get down!" and he shoots the zombie behind her. So that location, Emmy's, looks like they're putting in this movie. So I like that they're blending locations from the first Resident Evil 2 and the remake. And they're using more designs from the remake, but they're including locations from the first version of the game, which I like. So Emmy's is, looks a little bit more quaint than the remake version would, because the remake version definitely upped the production value on a lot of the stuff. And then also Kendo's looks like retro Kendo's and not modern Kendo's. So I like that they're doing like a blend between those. So yeah, so Emmy's is great. And then there's this shot of just like a city street in where they're filming that they're using for Raccoon City. And I like it. What I like about this is that the buildings are kind of spread out. It looks like a place that, probably in the downtown area has a couple of tall buildings, but not a ton. And then it's mostly outskirts and suburbs that surround it. I like that. I think that's a better look than I think Toronto was Raccoon City in the Paul W. Sanderson movies. And I just thought that was too big. I'm like, Raccoon City should be big, population of like maybe 100,000 at the most. They call it a quiet Midwestern town in the video games, but it is a quiet Midwestern town that has a corporation that employs most of the people that live there, aka Umbrella. So as someone from like Greenville, South Carolina area, that started off as a quiet Midwestern-ish town, although it's obviously in the South and on the East Coast. But it had that feeling to it. And then over time, like BMW and other corporations kind of came in and started building stuff there and employing people there. And so I kind of like that. And I always think of Weirton, West Virginia, where my family's from, and there was a steel mill there, and it employed most of the people that worked or lived in Weirton, West Virginia. And then when the steel mill went away, the town kind of, suffered for that because a lot of people were out of work and there wasn't a lot of other jobs to get in Weirton. So I always think of Raccoon City as a cross between the two places I'm from, like a blend of, something like Weirton, West Virginia, when it was rising, when it had the steel mill, and then, Greenville, South Carolina, like, as it grows. So I always saw Raccoon City as something like that. And of course, that's my perception of Raccoon City. You guys may have a different perception. If you watch the movies and grew up with the movies, you think Raccoon City is Toronto. so yeah. But yeah, here's someone taking a picture outside Kendo's gun shop, which is awesome. More photos from Biohazard Classified. And there's also this white truck that says Raccoon Police Department on it, which is cool, this SUV. And we'll get some close-ups here of the white truck from other angles. It looks like there's claw marks on one side, and it looks like 3 claw marks, and that could be from a tyrant, but I'm going to guess it's probably from a liquor. And we might not see that scene in the movie, but that would be really cool if you see a SUV driving on the street and a liquor slash the side of it, and then the truck flip over or something. That could be pretty cool. So yeah, you get this wider shot of the damage on the side of this truck. And so, like I said, could be a liquor, could be a tyrant, but I feel like a tyrant's claw would go deeper into the truck, and a liquor's claw would probably cut through as much as this is cut through. So I'm going to guess it's probably from a liquor. But then this final shot is like the back window's busted out, and it's like the truck is really beaten to crap. So yeah, this is again from Biohazard Declassified, a closer look at the RPD SUVs from the Resident Evil reboot. Something got a hold of it big time. Photo by Robbie L. So yes, yeah, really cool stuff. And then I think we have another shot of just the truck in the distance that I'll post up there, and then Emmys and stuff like that. So those are all the main photos that have been out right now. I think there's been a couple other ones that I just couldn't find in time to make this video. So if you know of any other ones, let me know, and I'll try to cover them in a future video if you want me to. But follow Biohazard Declassified, follow Rely on Horror's website, follow some of the other people I mentioned on here. I'll try to put as many links down below as I can, and stay up to date on this movie, and I'll try to cover the news as much as possible. And I'm so sorry for my voice now. It's definitely getting bad, so I'll try to clear it before I make my next video. But if it doesn't clear, I probably just won't film my next video, because I hate sounding like this. So I apologize. If it's irritating to your voice, it's irritating to your ears, it's irritating to mine too. So if you made it through this video, achievement unlocked. Thank you for making it here. Let me know what you think of these set photos. Does this get you more excited for the Resident Evil reboot? I at least like the appreciation for the games here. It seems like a lot of work is going into capturing locations and looks and feels from the video game, a lot more than Paul W. Sanderson does. I mean, these photos to me make Paul W. Sanderson look like an awful filmmaker. And I know he's not. I mean, I know he's on time and he's professional and he seems like a really nice guy, but he kept saying, oh, I'm a fan of Resident Evil, I'm a fan of Resident Evil. But when you watch his movies, they don't have the feel of a Resident Evil at all. He doesn't capture, even the locations are all over the place. They go from everything from high tech, billionaire corporation type stuff with like Empire, like the Empire had clean floors, like black floors and stuff. It's like he goes too far that way because he's a big sci-fi nerd. So he references a lot of aliens and Star Wars and Omega Man and all these things like in his movies, and it doesn't work for me. I'm like, that's not what Resident Evil should be. Inspired by Romero movies and things like that. If you're going to pull from cinema, pull from horror that is of the same genre, not aliens and Omega Man and all that stuff and Escape from New York and stuff like that. It's like, those are great movies, but to pull from them for Resident Evil just seems silly to me. Pulling this seems more like of something that could be akin to a Romero approach, which is pretty good because we almost got a Romero Resident Evil movie at one point. So again, let me know what you think down below and we'll continue our conversation down there. Thanks for watching the show. As always, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you in the future. Peace.